Hallihallo everyone! Today I'll make a little goddess figure out of felt. And because I don't think I need to tell you anything about the sewing process, I want to talk about magic with dolls. When I was younger, I always associated doll magic with voodoo. But then I researched more about the history of figures and dolls, especially in Europe. I found out that the origins of doll magic in Europe are much older than the voodoo religion, which is known since the 14th century. These figures were a kind of messenger who mediated between people and the gods, fulfilling many wishes and bringing healing. They stand as guardians of the gates in the cardinal directions, fulfill love and prosperity spells, and accompanying you as servants into the afterlife. Dolls protect you from unwanted energies and bring light into the darkness. They celebrate festivals and are present at every stage of your life. Figure or doll magic can be found in almost every religion, but Islam is an exception. In Buddhism, the fat Buddha is stroked on the belly because it brings good luck. In ancient Egypt, wax figures were made to protect the land from enemies, or they represent the enemy and were destroyed. In nature religions, figures of goddesses and gods are set up in order to have divine powers close by, or to have a dialogue with the respective deity. Idols or icons were used since people began to do crafts. They were made from stone, bone, or clay. Some of the oldest European representations of women as statues are the Venus of Willendorf, found in Austria, the Venus of Hohlefels, the Venus of Galgenberg, they are both from Germany, the Venus of Dolní Věstonice from the Czech Republic, the Venus of Savignano from Italy, and the Venus of Moravany from Slovakia. In Russia, there are the popular matryoshkas, these hollow, artistically painted wooden dolls that hide smaller and smaller dolls inside. Their name is derived from the Latin word mater, which means mother. I think when the dolls stand next to each other, you could think of a line of women passing on their knowledge from generation to generation. Ancient peoples have always been on the move, whether it is to conquer new territories or in search of food. And their belief systems traveled with them, not to proselytize others, but to have their own gods with them. The Romans, for example, not only brought foreign religions to Rome and adopted them, but also carried them to ancient Germania and Britain. In Germany, in the city of Mainz, there is the Isis temple that the Romans built. During the excavations, 2 sigilla, Latin for figures, made out of clay were found. One of them is mutilated and probably worked with needles, and a curse tablet with a name, presumably the person who was cursed. The other figure was found together with a curse tablet from a woman who wished her husband more affection and masculinity. There are different types of figures and dolls used in magic. Some are made very simply from cloth, and others are more complex and made of clay or wax or carved stone or bone. These puppets are sometimes decorated, and some are filled with herbs and different small personal objects. There are figures of goddesses and gods. We attribute magical powers to these figures and converse with them, and they just make our altar more beautiful. Sacrificial figures, or thank you dolls, are made personally by the person who wants to cast a spell and is placed in a place that we believe is a gateway to the other world. In the past, sacrificial figures were given instead of a blood sacrifice. But sacrifices should be made so that the god know that we are serious about our magic. There are so many other functions of figures and dolls. Messenger dolls, servant figures, helper dolls, oracle dolls, healing dolls, banishing dolls, candle figures, guardian figures, straw dolls, or magical twins. With different types of dolls made of different materials and colors, you can create your very own and personal spells and rituals. I made my little goddesses in orange because it stands for happiness, enthusiasm, creativity, and success. The back of one of the dolls is a warm brown, which stands for grounding, stability, nature, and animals. The flower on both goddesses is chamomile, which is a plant of the summer and the fire element, and it also stands for healing and calmness. I also chose spirals. In symbolism, the spiral stands for continuity of progress. Physical and spiritual energy flows in a spiral. For the Celts, the spiral also symbolizes the waxing and waning of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, birth and death, the recurring seasons. It represents both the idea of expansion and the focus on a center. The spiral shape can be found everywhere in nature, in mussels, in snails, the fruit of plants, for example in sunflowers and in pine cones. The spider spins its web in the shape of a spiral. Water flows in spirals. Air moves in spirals as wind. Our DNA molecules are also spirals. And I just like spirals in general. Anyway, here are my finished goddess figures for my altar during summer and fall. What do you think? And do you use figures, puppets, or any kind of dolls in your magic? Please tell me about that in the comments. Bye!